listening to Revolution Number 10, an AnnaPropriate point of view. This podcast is made for solutions. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back. I'm here with Heather. My name is Anna, and today I kind of want to discuss gun violence because we were just watching the news and 2 people were killed at a shooting last night downtown. That's not Toronto.
Yeah.
I've never walked down my street scared of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Now I am.
Right.
Because it's so frequent and it's everywhere.
Yeah. And have we just sort of lost sensitivity to the violence itself?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. School shootings, prime example.
Right.
The first few times we've seen it, it was an atrocious thing, and now it's become so normalized. Violence has always existed.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
Does gun violence need to change?
Well, it's the accessibility. I think you're jumping the gun there. No pun intended. The trouble isn't the guns. I don't want to get rid of guns. The problem is automatic weapons, because an automatic weapon cannot be used for hunting. It would render the animal useless for its meat. An automatic weapon is designed solely to kill human beings as an act of war. I would love to join hands, all sing Imagine, and fucking never, ever have to fight a war ever again. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah. The
patterns of human nature dictate that there are constant battles over territory, over ideologies, sadly over beliefs, which is one of the reasons why, I think here at Revolution Number 10, we're trying to create a conversation so that we can kind of ease the violence with conversation. That's not to say that it's going to eliminate all violence.
Yeah.
But the problem that I want to discuss today isn't violence. It is gun violence. Because there was a time when we didn't have guns on the street. They were only available to the militia.
Right.
And people were still dying. And people were still being killed in their little gang wars with knives.
Yeah.
And just punching each other to death. Or using broken bottles. Or brass knuckles.
If you want to murder, you find a way.
Right. Right. And so it's just the gun violence has become and too easy and so complacent, and perhaps, oh no, I don't know if I want to go there, Heather, but I'm gonna say it. Video games and first person shooter games has probably, and I don't know the statistics, but let's just say theoretically, has potentially contributed to the demise of the sensitization of shooting a person in real life to the last generation.
Okay.
Right? Like the people who were born, the generation of kids who were born, like I was born before Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
And Duck Hunt, if you're unfamiliar, was one of the first
Nintendo games.
One of the first Nintendo games and one of the first person shooter games. Yeah.
Like
you're holding a gun, you're shooting ducks. And then it evolves to, I'm not very familiar with games, but, Call of Duty.
To what it is today, where there's VR games about it.
Right, and so perhaps that has led to the fact that maybe we don't think that if I shoot somebody, like, they have 2 more lives kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even though we know they don't actually. A lot of people love murder porn. Yeah. Murder porn as defined by South Park, which is like the reenactments of true crimes.
Right.
Yeah.
That episode.
Yeah. Not murder porn as in watching people die in a snuff film, but the true crime. There's like all these shows now. Yeah. There's a whole channel.
He strangled her in the basement.
Right. And they say, like, after they shot the gun, they realized, shit, this isn't a game.
Yeah.
Now, that being said,
would you go even wider than that and say entertainment in general or strictly video games?
I mean, we got to look at the culture, because in North America, nudity and swears are censored. Yet you can watch PG-14 to 18 plus on Netflix show, television series, which is just a barrage of violent gun battles and heads exploding. You know?
Yeah.
But you can't swear, you can't see titties. Like, I learned that lesson in junior high. In junior high, I wore this t-shirt in grade 9. It said 15 reasons why beer is better than men. It was a t-shirt, so I didn't show my like, it was a white t-shirt. I bought it at one of those, like, novelty shops.
Like, no cleavage, is like,
yeah,
the t-shirt.
Just words. Literally just words. 15 reasons. There's a woman, a cartoon woman with a bottle of beer. And I was forced to change. They were like, that is an inappropriate shirt. You have to change. Now, the only t-shirt that was lent to me, because I didn't have any gym clothes, because I always had an excuse not to do gym, hence my buxom body, but they made me change into a Metallica concert shirt, which had a man being executed on the front, and half of him is his bones, and him being, like, it's so graphic.
Yeah.
And I thought, Jesus, like, this is just another nail in the coffin of the hypocrisy of adults.
Yeah.
In my mind as a teenager, being like, you made me change out of words. From 5 feet away, you couldn't see what the t-shirt said. From 25 feet away, you could see this guy being executed on my t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, when I was 7 years old, the first time I went to Italy, with all my young cousins, my young sister, Saturday morning cartoons, they have it in Italy too. We're watching. Commercial comes on. There's a floating yellow hat in the ocean, and all of a sudden it starts to move, and this woman emerges. She's like dripping wet, beautiful golden tan, itty bitty teeny yellow bikini bottoms. No top. Titties to the wind. 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning in between cartoons for children.
Yeah.
My Italian cousins didn't blink an eye. The rest of us were panicking. The titties on TV!
Yeah.
What are we watching, porn?
Yeah.
But then that's when my cousins were like, what? No, it's commercial. Like, they didn't even see the titties. It wasn't even a thing.
Because it was just so natural.
Right.
It was just so, like, abundantly okay.
Yeah. And so, but here we can't see titties, but we can watch people shoot each other down in the street. Like, it's commonplace.
Like, blood is far more forgiving than skin.
That doesn't make sense. And that doesn't make sense. And that contributes to the issue of which we are discussing today, that of gun violence and how it has become normalized. And that it's a fundamental issue that starts at the beginning.
Yeah.
That we're taught that nudity is wrong, but standing your ground and fighting for your possessions is perfectly legitimate. If you stab somebody for trying to steal your money and they die because they're starving and there's no infrastructure to help them get ahead, right? Like, who knows what the circumstances are?
Yeah.
It's like this morality clause. I'm not talking about morals. I'm not talking about the ethical idea of guns. I'm not talking about
banning them.
Banning guns. Well within all of our rights to possess weapons that will protect us from whoever the fuck might come at us. Be it the king or the aliens or just some fucking stalker on the street.
Yeah.
But automatic weaponry has no place amongst the populace.
Yeah.
Truly, I don't believe it has any place in the world. Like, I mean, if we want to fight wars, we can fight wars face to face, like we once wanted to. Like, if you really want to kill somebody, look them in the eye and stab them in the gut. You know what I mean? There was a time when we didn't lose as many people in a war because you couldn't. You could only, I don't know. You're looking at me funny. Like,
I'm like, I think that there's more to it than that, but I follow what you're putting down.
I was just saying, on a simplified, rudimentary level, like, I know that, like, historically that was not factual at all.
Yeah.
Okay. theoretically, just putting it out there. Gandhi said, an eye for an eye leaves the world blind.
Yeah.
And people they just know an eye for an eye. And
they also know revenge is a dish better served cold. Like,
right.
They know that, like violence begets violence.
Right.
Like, we do know these rhetorics that we are taught, but we also are exposed to it more often than...
Well, and also I think we have this idea of, like, I'm going to punch first.
Yeah.
Kind of like preemptive.
Yeah.
You know, and that's going to perpetuate an attitude where all of a sudden this respect comes into play, and you've looked at me wrong.
Yeah.
The issue is how quickly people are to draw a weapon now, and that's it. It's scary to honk at somebody if you're driving, because you don't know if they're going to just shoot at you. Doesn't matter who they are. Like, it's all of a sudden the go-to reaction kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, you watch West Side Story. There were some really serious battles between two warring gangs. But Fosse replaced the guns and the knives with killer dance moves. Imagine the hardest mafioso, like the biggest gang dude, the strongest guy, is like the one with the best moves. So, like, instead of like drawing a gun and step 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and then like the people like behind you, instead of like busting out guns or like creating the music for you, like, I get it, I know, I've discussed this with a lot of people, it's not a feasible, but it is, because breakdancing was invented and popularized in the 80s in New York to quash the violence between the gangs. They started breakdance battles because they wanted to quash the violence within the gangs in New York.
Cool.
Right. It's not like it hasn't happened before. We've already, and not only did it already happen once or twice even, who the hell knows, I only know of the one occasion, but it changed, it shaped, it reshaped a whole genre of dance.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like in North America, it's too easy to brainwash ourselves. I'm not saying anybody's doing it to us. People are putting out the products and we are picking it up. Vacuous music. The like poppy shit, the like one hit wonders. It wasn't even really music. It was just kind of like noise that made your ear want to dance. Like, that's what they now call the millennial loop. And it's, so there's like this loop that's like always existed in the same like 3-1, 3-1, whatever the fucking...
the magic number is.
I think it is 3-1, but...
Yeah.
It's like the old like joke that like the Batman song was used to brainwash soldiers, because if you say things in the ba-na-na-na-na-na-ba-ba, and then they did a spoof of it on The Simpsons.
Okay.
So they would be like, you are no longer a communist, capitalism, like that kind of thing, you know? Like, and they would just repeat it over and over again, and it would sink into the brain and like change the infrastructure of the brain so that the brain is now brainwashed into thinking certain way, and it's because of the repetition of the music. So all the music that I truly irks me is I started listening to it, and it's not like I don't surround myself with the youths, and I'm not saying that all youths are one way, because they're not. Pop kids, pop culture, which would be the masses, the norm, the status quo, is now that sort of like party trap pop that promotes violence and, you know, drug use. And I'm not against drug use. I am into moderation. Yeah. But one thing that you cannot moderate is fucking violence.
Yeah. No.
That's it. I want to hit people all the time. But if I punch somebody once because I want to, I'm not going to stop punching them.
Yeah, you might like how that feels.
And you can't regulate violence. So, like, there's that prison in Thailand, right? You've heard of them. The ones that do the choreography.
Right.
They are the happiest and the least violent prison in the world. And they have one of the highest prison populations.
Wow.
And they like started with teaching them the Thriller video years and years ago. Have you never seen it?
No.
Oh God, it's been around for ages. Maybe it's too old for the new internet kids, but so there's this prison in Thailand where they teach them choreography. Thousands of prisoners in the courtyard. I'm sure they get beat if they fuck up. Like I'm sure they probably. I don't know how the guards treat the inmates. Like, but according
what
to
a juxtaposition.
Yeah, according to the website, and if you look it up on YouTube, they are like the happiest prison in the world, and they do because they've given them something else to focus on. Mm-hmm. Dancing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what do people say? Like dance like nobody's watching, right?
Yeah.
Like
they get a chance to exert a force that's within them, but in a different way.
Right. You're still giving out that energy. And if you want, let's go a step further, okay? Let's say in this beautiful land we call Canada, we have no automatic weapons. And nobody wants to use automatic weapons to fight each other anyway. Everybody's perfectly happy dance battling. Mm-hmm. And we could even go in so far as to, because I truly believe that divorce is like 100% of the reason why husbands and wives kill each other. Mm-hmm. Seems to me divorce is a major reason as to why husbands and wives murder one another, mm-hmm. or have each other murdered. They don't want to get divorced because it's embarrassing for the community, or they don't want to lose all their money, or whatever the fact may be. They could have a dance off. Yeah. We could resolve. So I wonder if we could apply it to a macro scale on a world stage of international or even global civil wars. So we now start training our army to dance, but like Tai Chi style of dance, so the dances can be used as combative moves as well.
Yeah.
If and only if the enemy approaches with a weapon. Yeah. Besides their dance shoes. So somebody approaches with a spear or a knife, because remember, guns don't exist. Right. Automatic weapons don't exist. Yeah. And for the sake of argument in this philosophical, beautiful world, guns exist, but only insofar as to hunt animals.
What people keep saying they're for, protection, it stays at home for protection, or hunting for for sustainment and for living. If you want to go hunting for animals.
Oh, and I know this sounds ridiculous. Okay? I know it sounds ridiculous.
So far it seems nonsensical, but with feasible elements.
It is nonsensical because of the way that we think. Mm-hmm. Just because it is the way it is doesn't mean it's the way it has to be. Doesn't mean it can't change. Mm-hmm. Yes, the norm right now is to bust a cap in someone's ass. That's the norm. But the norm could be to bust a move in the middle of the street. Yeah. Right? We are the ones that have to make that change. Yeah. We're the ones that have to say, you know what, man? I'm putting my gun down. And I challenge you to a dance-off. And this is what I was saying earlier. You can pick your whatever music you want. Yeah. And the other thing is that perhaps you don't need to, unless once it's become more normalized, everyone will have some choreography in their back pocket. Yeah. So you'll be able to just bust it out on the fly.
Dueling choreo.
But for now, you can have some time to prepare. Mm-hmm. So you will pick the song that you wish. And if you're an angry person and you want to pick some thrashy music music,
Yeah.
go ahead. You don't have to pick disco or hip hop or trap or pop music like Taylor Swift or Ariana, like a Britney Spears. Like, you can pick whatever you want. Just like you would choose your weapon.
Yeah.
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 Oh my God. And you know what? Let's talk about this. This is more feasible than we are letting on because people fucking love Dancing with the Stars.
So you think you can dance?
Right.
Yeah.
People love dancing.
Yeah, they do.
They love watching dances. What if we televised dance battles?
Yeah.
We had a channel specifically for spontaneous dance battles.
Definitely.
That would make it more feasible.
There are dance battle tournaments for sure.
Already, yes, but they're not. Those are like between like.
Yeah.
That is obvious.
So in this world in Canada, there is a cheerleader like tier system that gangs, if they have an issue that needs to be resolved, that they can battle it out and be televised.
I don't know about being televised, because if they're gangs, maybe they want to stay private. But, and perhaps I want to go, first I was talking about merely gang violence.
Right. But now are you thinking in terms of violence in general?
I'm thinking of gun violence in general.
Right.
But, if you look at other forms of violence, like domestic violence, I don't know if we'll stop all, like, I don't know if, like, I would like that if you were going to get robbed on the street, that the robber just is like, dance battle.
Whoa, and you have to defend your shit?
Yeah. Like, so, instead of being shot or stabbed for your wallet, which at that point you have no choice, you're shot or stabbed, they're taking your wallet anyway.
So if you lose the dance battle,
you give it up.
Like,
can you imagine how healthy the population would be if we were all just like, I gotta fucking dance. I gotta work on my dance moves so that I'm like safe. Can you imagine?
Interesting.
The world would turn into a musical. All of a sudden, we would. Like, those ridiculous shows where you're like, how does everybody know the same choreography in this mall? We would.
There would be classes where it's like, here's defense choreography.
We would. Yeah. I don't think
Wild.
But you see, Tai Chi is, like, so, in China, everybody learns Tai Chi. It's taught in school.
Yeah.
It's a way of life. And although Tai Chi, I took Tai Chi for a very short amount of time. It is a beautiful art. Mm-hmm. And they focus on the slow movements that look very rhythmic and dancing. But as soon as you speed those movements up, you're crushing somebody's larynx.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it. And, like, that's the beauty and grace that you see. Like, you see just, parks filled with people doing Tai Chi.
For a reason.
For a reason. It's for health. And so it could be like, perhaps we could create some kind of standard like that on this side of the ocean, where we are happy to battle with our dance moves, because it's become so commonplace. Like, it's almost like, because the Puritans established this damn country, dancing is like a part of the devil's work.
Right. Footloose.
Yeah.
Cut loose.
Yeah.
Kick up my Sunday.
Right. Like, we're taught that, like, dancing is bad.
Kevin Bacon was onto something.
Yeah.
Just dancing his rage out in that warehouse. Just throwing himself around.
Right. Go. Make it
go.
Yes.
There is something beautiful
There is a modicum of feasibility to this solution, whereby we would not only deduce the amount of gun deaths and violence, but we would increase the agility of our population.
Their health.
We would increase their health, decrease their BMIs, And we would just be a bunch of like fantastically.
Like imagine if you could I just need to go dance. Just go and like rage dance in the freezer at work for like 2 minutes, and then you're fine, and then you can get back to work.
Right,
you know?
and there are people out there that do that, but not enough of us.
Yeah, like we need designated dancing rooms at offices.
We need to normalize dance as an alternative to violence. That is the way I am ending this right now. We need to normalize dance as an alternative to violence. I'm Anna.
I'm Heather.
Thanks for listening to Revolution Number 10, your AnnaPropriate podcast. Check out our website, AnnaPropriate.com, and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
Stirring up the shit is something I like to do from time to time, but I also like to know